it good? Do the whole episode in this voice? I think this one sounds good. Welcome to We Got the Beats with the Monsters, where we beat up humans and eat them alive.
Natalie! How did she even do that? Natalie!
Right.
I don't know.
I love the first couple of times they just kind of look at her. And they're like, what? This happened?
Are you already recording?
I am recording.
Oh, okay. You know what? I read a thing that they told her to do that at the last minute, or didn't even tell her exactly what to do. Just told her to do something weird, and everyone was surprised. So their reactions are genuine.
That's great.
They're just they're like, what is that? Like, it's real. Like, they had no idea she was gonna do that.
What the fuck is Anna Faris from anyway? She comes out in Scary Movie, 8 years before this, and she just blows it out of the park. Who the fuck is she? Where'd she come from?
I don't know. I mean, that's kind of where she got noticed, and then she did 8 million of those movies, and I don't know what she did before that.
So she just must scored on an open audition or something, because all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she's just like, that's her. She's a new girl.
Yeah, she is I can't remember what she did before that. I mean, one of her earlier roles that was not comedy, I guess, is, you know that one with Scarlett Johansson and...
Lost in Translation?
Thank you. I don't know why I couldn't remember what that's called.
Still have never seen it. I've heard it 90 times.
What?
It played repeatedly.
She's funny in it, but it's not necessarily a funny movie. I mean, she was in she was in a movie in 1991, 1996, 2 movies in 1999, and then Scary Movie in 2000. So, I mean, and I haven't heard of any of these other movies.
Yeah, I remember Lover's Lane was a Blockbuster exclusive, to be fair, but I think that came out after Scary Movie.
This looks like a direct-to-TV movie with Steven Weber and Katherine Hellman and Mary Page Keller. That's interesting. So, TV movie, I don't know. So, that's a big difference. 91, 96, 99. So, she didn't really do that much. Oh my gosh, she looks like a baby in this Lover's Lane movie.
I want to see the
movie.
movie.
Heard of.
I've never even heard of this movie. This one came out after Scary Movie 2 called Winter Break. Has Milo Ventimiglia, Eddie K. Thomas, and Anna Faris, and Maggie Lawson. So yeah, All right, let's get back to this topic though. But she bounced around.
Chick was a good moment for her too.
That was a good one, but she bounced around a little bit. I remember after all those kind of died down, and then she showed up in House Bunny as a lead. And I'm just like, well, how does this happen? Because I haven't seen her star in a movie in a few years, and it's from Adam Sandler, and she executive produced this. Wow, it sounds different when you take your hoodie off. It's not so muffled. Wow.
What I understand is the basic idea of this movie was her idea. So I think maybe she took it to someone, sold the idea or something to someone to write it and for her to produce it. But I don't know. How does stuff happen? No clue. I mean, her career is so random and all over the place. In my opinion, a lot of movies that are just so-so. A lot of movies that I think are consistently funny, even if they're not necessarily quote unquote good.
Yeah, and this was a hit, and I'm kind of surprised she didn't get more roles after this, but she did, Observe and Report, and then just animation. It seems like she did a lot of animation-oriented stuff, and now she's on a TV show, which I couldn't give a fuck about, and it's been on for 10 years.
Oh, I watched, the first season, maybe even a little bit of the second season, I don't know, but the thing that it bothered me for a couple reasons. One, it takes place in the Napa Valley.
Okay.
And, when something's set in your hometown, and nothing's set in our hometown, but, in the area where you live, and you're just or you've been somewhere and you're like, oh, it looks nothing like that in real life. Like, there's nothing realistic about the show whatsoever, especially regarding like the setting and like what they could afford. Like, none of this makes any sense. It's just so. And also, tons of really unlikable people. That's not her fault.
That's like the Chuck Lorre rule, though, is to have miserable characters, and that's why I don't like his stuff. Yeah,
I don't really. I think most of his characters are unlikable. I mean, I really like her. I like Allison Janney. I like a lot of the actors in the show. Whatever. That's beside the point. It didn't do it for me. So glad somebody likes it.
Yeah.
Because I like her.
Yeah, it's. I kind of wish I had done the hot chick now. That didn't come out the way I thought it was going to come out. I love that movie.
I know what you meant. It's okay.
Oh, that's how she probably got in with Adam Sandler. Duh, that's an Adam Sandler production.
What is?
Isn't Into the Hot Chick a Adam Sandler production?
Oh, probably.
That's how they probably know. I was trying to figure that one out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway. Yeah. So this movie, I think, is kind of ground zero for seeing a whole bunch of new, younger actors. I was actually shocked when I went through this. I remember, the reason we chose this is because I couldn't find Saved, so we went to another Emma Stone movie, and I tried to find some early where she was still a teenager, and I don't want to watch Superbad. I know people love that movie. That movie makes my skin crawl. There's some conversations that are kind of gross.
we could have, an episode about icky boy movies, but
yeah,
I don't know. You might have to pay me to go there. I'm not sure. I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah, Emma Stone. The first time we had seen her was in that short-lived show with Nathan Fillion, Drive. Yeah, it was such a good show. And then she did that movie. Damn it! How do I fucking do this stuff? Where I just literally forget the name of the movie. Superbad. Jeez, it's embarrassing. Kat
it's okay.
Dennings.
You don't have to be so cussy about it.
Kat Dennings was in 40-Year-Old Virgin, right?
Was she on the I'm sorry, words hard. She was on a sitcom with my God, what's wrong?
No, we're not talking about Two Broke Girls. We're talking early on.
No, Bob Saget? She was on a sitcom with Bob Saget called Raising Dad.
Never heard of it. Wow.
And it was her and Brie Larson were the kids.
No kidding.
And that was in 2001, 2002. I didn't see it. I didn't know her from that. I think that she was in this movie with Hilary Duff. Maybe I saw her in that. I think 40-Year-Old Virgin really was the first thing I saw her in. And then Charlie Bartlett, and then she just kind of blew up.
Oh my God, I can't wait to do Charlie Bartlett. I gotta stop.
Charlie Bartlett's brilliant.
I have to stop saying it like that. I thought of another good double feature later with the Secret Life of the Dangerous Life of Altar Boys, and if I ever do find Saved, we can put those together.
Maybe.
I thought Rumor Willis was actually really good this time around. I didn't pay attention to her the last time because I just kept getting bothered by the fact that she looks like her dad, and I was like, no, it's just nepotism. And I was like, wait, she's actually fucking good. There's some stuff in here I truly believe her, and I think you and I, but people in general are really hard on her because they think she just gets work because they have nepotism. But she's actually pretty talented.
I've seen some things over the time. I think overall the casting in this is a little bit strange. There's a lot of their dad is famous. This person's famous. Catherine McPhee, she never did anything, and she was on American Idol.
Is that why she's famous? I didn't know who the hell she was. I know she was in some show called Bombshell or something where she was a singer. Smash. But that was years after she was on American Idol. I don't remember what season it is, but she was the runner-up, I think, too. You remember the one season where there was a guy who he looked like an old man, and it freaked everyone out? Oh, right, yeah.
And I think even Weird Al did a song. It's
do I creep you out?
that was the year, and she lost to him. Anyway. And then there's like a cheetah girl in this movie.
Is that who that girl is? The British
you know,
girl. Is that who that is?
The British girl.
Okay.
Yeah, she was in the Cheetah Girls. Like the lead singer of All American Rejects.
Yeah, that is
you know,
a weird one. He acts a lot.
Lots
apparently.
of the mean girls are, you know, faces you've seen lots of places. So it's just like a super weird mix of fresh faces, people who are kind of known from other things, and a little sprinkle, just a dusting of Adam Sandler bros, for a nice mix of goofiness. To me, I think this movie is just filled to the brim with like hilarious one-liners that are so quotable, and like she is so believable, and like earnest, you know, she's dingy, but she's like, you know, sincere.
Yeah.
And it's so, every moment of it I buy, like all of it.
She's so good. She's so sweet too. The whole thing
her
about
delivery is just so fantastic.
Hugh Hefner is not an actor, but it's kind of funny watching him get
God,
so depressed. He's so depressed. He's just eating all those pints of ice cream. Like, I don't want movie night.
I want to be alone. Bring me more ice cream. Yeah, I loved it. And you know, some of like people that have been in other movies with Adam Sandler, like Christopher McDonald, who is, you know, he's usually a villain type of character. He didn't have a huge role in this movie, but he was totally not what you would expect him to be. Beverly D'Angelo was, and of course the gaggle of mean girls were the villains in this.
Well, I didn't know Eric Christian Olsen was married to the main villain, Sarah Wright.
Well, Sarah Wright was in the very first season of The Loop, and she was their roommate.
Oh, son of a bitch. That's why she looked familiar. It was bugging the crap out of me.
That's why she looks familiar. And then, for whatever reason, when they did season 2, they got rid of both of the girls. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That's why she looks familiar, and that's where they met. Weird, huh? So... Anyway, what was my point? I don't know.
I have no idea. Can we talk about the MVP of this that's no one ever talks about? Well, I mean, nobody really talks about... No, well, yes, but he's great. I fucking found Carrie Mae, the tall, like, aggressive, goofy one.
My God.
Fucking hilarious. She's played by Dana Goodman, who is an actress, but she also created a bunch of TV shows recently. And she is on another wavelength with everything she's doing.
Well, you know, when there's definitely scenes where they probably just said, oh, improv, what you're gonna say. There's a bunch of like chattering, you know, all the girls are saying stuff at the same time.
Uh-huh. And
you're not necessarily supposed to hear everything that's said, but when you hear what she says, you're just like, oh my God. like there's, you know, when like she goes on the first date with whatever his name is, Colin Hanks' character, and like, you know, it didn't go well because she's, you know, is a little vapid, and he's a deep guy and whatever. So then they're like giving her advice on like how to do this over again, and she's like, don't brush your teeth.
I love when she's at the bar hitting on the guys, and she's like, hey, I'm gonna cut some lumber or lumber, timber.
And then she's like, timber. I think she says timber. Whatever. It's either timber or... Never mind. I can't... I'm going to start laughing if we just dissect the English language. Anyway, and then she, like, does a hang dog walk back, and she's, what'd I do? No, you're right. She is just, like, stunning. Absolutely, like, just a vision to, like, oh... She's marvelous, and I've never seen her other than this. I've never heard of her. There's not even a freaking picture of her on IMDb. That's like so annoying.
But she has like 23 credits. She's in a lot of Sandler stuff if you look. But she's mostly a writer.
Okay.
I guess she's an improv actress who became a writer.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
So to the point of the movie, there's when they start doing the whole glam up sequence, I was kind of annoyed because I was like, you don't need to do that. In fact, some of the girls looked worse that hairdo they gave the shorter girl looked ridiculous.
know.
It was awful, whatever. And I was mad for a while because I couldn't remember how the structure of the movie went. But then there's a part where it's like, look, there's a fine line between being yourself and becoming a character that you're not. You can write, they can still look beautiful and clean themselves up a little bit, but they still stick to who they are. They don't look like so trashy.
Well,
but also,
I mean,
she changes herself too. She's dumbing it down on purpose with Colin Hanks.
Right, and with every person if she's ever met.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, she's admittedly not the sharpest person on the planet, but she's also dumbing it down to make her more likable. I don't know what, or easier to, more accessible.
I mean, I think there's a lot of, the formula and all the things that she tells the girls to do to get attention from guys is, I think, really what a lot of women believe or actually do to find dudes. I don't know what is normal because I don't want to be typical. I don't want to do the things.
I fell down that well.
But it isn't. Yeah. But isn't that the point of this movie? I mean, it is a comedy, and she is incredibly vapid. But I think that it's almost so far intentionally because it's everything that it's against everything that they believe, and like the character, Mona Cat Denning's character, she belly aches and she moans and she keeps going on and on about how it's so against her feminist beliefs and all these things. So they fight it all for a while, and then they get so wrapped up into the bullshit and the attention and all this stuff that they forget who they are, individually and as a group, and what they're supposed to be, and that they got totally off track.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the idea done before, maybe once with Can't Buy Me Love has kind of a similar concept, but that's for a boy's perspective. This is from a girl's perspective, which I'm shocked it took so long, unless I've just never seen the movie where they change.
Yeah, I mean the makeover scene and all that stuff is a very popular concept, but I think that this took it to the extreme. For a reason,
right?
To really kind of, put some light on the extreme lengths that females will go so that they don't have to be alone.
Right, and it's the Cinderella rule, taking someone who's a little shabby and making them pretty and everything's normal afterwards, like in She's All That. But this deals with the repercussions of that. We've seen it. We've seen people in high school who were one way for a while, and then one summer it changes, and all of a sudden they become a different person.
Oh, no! I mean, it is very real, a very common thing for people to, completely change who they are, or pretend to change who they are, to try to be more popular, to get girls, get guys, whatever. And not to say that, a new haircut or, learning some new things isn't a bad thing, but nobody should have to, unless you, never shower and have never read a book in your life, maybe you need a little work, but otherwise...
Well, a lot of it's about changing for you, not changing for other people, and that's where it goes wrong, is where people change to be accepted by others.
Yes. Ultimately, you have to do it for yourself for it to be, healthy and effective.
Yeah.
And I've seen that version too, where a person changes, and makes healthier choices. It's not, even I guess if you want to say makeover, but they do it for them, and that's when it really is the best way to have a makeover, and really the only way you should do it.
Yeah, and I think addressing the fact that usually movies address, I don't know who I am, is usually a high school, college thing. Yes, this is a college movie, but Anna Faris's character is 27 and she still doesn't know who she is, which is more common than people treat it.
Yes. It is. I think that it is a very common thing to be in your 20s and still not have things figured out, or in your 30s.
Well, I'm just figuring it out now. I just turned 44, and the whole last year has been a revelation for me. So
yeah. But like nobody can do that for you, and there's no formula. There's no like one way to live life, which is why certain things frustrate me. Like, oh, you graduate from high school, you go to 4-year college, you get engaged, you get married, you have kids. Like that is not the right mindset to instill in every human being, or every American or whatever, because there's different paths for everyone. There's a different, there's different timing, different life choices, different, right. And nobody can fit in this little box.
The formula didn't work for me. When I graduated from college, I came home and I'm like, now what? I don't know what to do now. I'm lost. My friends are gone. We're all split up, and I don't know what the fuck. I have no structure.
But that's what I'm trying to say, is that who does the formula work for even? Like, maybe it works for some people, but the idea that this is the norm, and it needs to be dissolved.
Yeah. Just find your happiness, no matter how it's, find your own formula.
How do we always get so deep?
Because that's why this is a good show.
Okay, so let's move on from that and just say... Fred Wolf, director. I guess for some reason, even though he's actually directed a lot of movies, for some reason, was he ever on like Saturday Night Live or something? Like, for some reason I was like, oh, he's a comedian.
Well,
but is he even a comedian?
He started off as a stand-up comic, I believe, and he was doing jokes and bits on a late-night show on Comedy Central in the early 90s called Comics Only with Paul Provenza. And he was always like the sidekick and just kind of sit off to the side, and, like the way Andy Richter does. And then and then he got hired over SNL, and then he was writing a bunch, and then he started writing the movies, and that's how he became kind of famous. His first movie was Tommy Boy. And then he did Black Sheep, and he was just really good friends with David Spade and Chris Farley. I think he did Lost and Found, but he's just always been kind of bouncing around that group for years. Monterey resident who used to get his car fixed at a certain place.
I remember that. He would get his car, like, worked on, and didn't, like, our dad meet him?
Yeah, he was, like, my dad...
I totally forgot about that.
Our father was his go-to guy for any work on his car.
Well, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I forgot all about that until you told me that.
Oh, okay. No, the first thing he did was he was a writer on the Pat Sajak show. You remember that shit?
Holy wow.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing is I looked up like the writers of this movie, and the stuff that they have written kind of makes sense to me why I enjoy this so much. 10 Things I Hate About You, Ella Enchanted, She's the Man.
Okay. All good movies.
So like some of them some of the other ones they did not so good. I mean, Legally Blonde's pretty good, and then like The Ugly Truth, not so good. But like for a while there, a good run of like funny stuff that I really enjoyed. So I don't know. Knowing that, it was kind of enjoyable.
Where are we at? I lost where we are.
I think. I was just talking about the writers. I think that probably we could wrap it up. So ultimately, is this a good movie?
I think it is.
Not really.
No, I do.
But is it? But do I care? Nah, I don't. It's really fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't think the message is as strong as like our next film, Easy A, which is a way smarter movie and so well done. I can't believe the cast on this and the people behind it. We just talked about Will Gluck's previous film, Fired Up, and I didn't know. I thought that maybe after Easy A, he just kind of faded away. No, he's still directing a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the first. Well, this is the first thing written by Burt. That's a weird name. Burt V. Royal sounds like a very old name. Sounds like a producer. Burt V. Royal Productions presents The Giant Ants Attack.
It sounds like a made up name.
Yeah. Which I'm kind of surprised that Will Gluck must have done some rewrites on this because it has his humor. It's not as fast-paced as Fired Up in The Loop, but there's clearly some of his joke writing in this.
There's a lot. He has a lot of stuff in the works. My God.
But
so much stuff.
You know that part where she's listening to the card playing that song.
Oh God!
You know that was his sense of humor because by just the way it's like, ooh, I don't like the song at all. Then kind of humming it and then just dancing around, take me away
until the battery dies. That's the best part. Is like she's so obsessed until her brain like and really that's. I really connect with her in the way that's how you have a wild weekend. that's my idea of wild. And like her parents think that she's so ridiculous. Like, why aren't you like getting in more trouble and doing wild things? And here she is rocking out to one song for an entire weekend.
Oh my God, how great are her parents? I love them. They're so much fun.
I would say that they're one of the best couples, parents in a movie because first of all, like they're actually like invested in her life.
They're paying attention, which never happens.
That never happens in TV shows or movies. Either their parents are non-existent or they're smothers, and there's really no in between. This is like, and I always think this is so unrealistic because their parents don't pay attention at all, but I know that there are totally like negligent parents out there. So
yeah, but I mean, they love each other. I mean, I imagine those two in real life being a couple, even though they're not, because they work so well off of each other.
I know they really
and I've
did.
Never seen Stanley Tucci. I'm a straight man, but he's fucking hot in this. I was like, well, hello, Stanley Tucci.
Like, for some reason, he always kind of plays like... I mean, I always enjoy Stanley Tucci. He's great. But he's never quite played a character like this silly, funny...
But not flamboyant. He has a tendency to be cast as flamboyant. And he just really under the radar. He's got a couple moments what's a little big. Like when he goes, I know I'm adopted. He's like, what? Who told you?
Well, I mean, he's goofing with a kid under 10 years old. It makes sense. But I love Patricia Clarkson and Stanley Tucci, and I think part of it is they don't really, not that off the top of my head can I think of them doing like really comedies. I mean, they don't strike me necessarily as silly people. So I think that's what made it so fun, and how much they like messed with her.
Yeah.
God, it was just like the jokes and all the stuff. Oh, and when Dan Bird, we love Dan Bird, and we've talked about him a lot. When he comes over, kind of at the beginning of the movie they're starting to be friends or whatever, and her mom's just like, there's a boy at the door, and then she's like, oh mama, there's a boy, and like just the whole, it's just like, it seems like this, like it felt like they had really good family chemistry,
right?
And
well, it's so rare to see a family that completely gets along in a movie because there always has to be some sort of stupid
gets
tension.
Each other,
yeah, and the parents seem like they actually love each other.
Yeah, so I think that is something that makes this movie definitely more unique in the, a lot of times the parents are just stupid or just like so embarrassing or negligent.
Yeah.
And that really sets this movie apart.
Well, everybody's kind of cast differently than what you expect because Malcolm McDowell is actually funny in this, and I don't think I've ever seen him funny.
Oh my God. No, so I did not remember that either. Amanda Bynes is the bully, and she has played characters like that, but she's also played...
Has she? I've never seen her as a villain before. Has she done this before?
Oh, you know what? I said that, and I take it back, because I was thinking Hairspray, but that wasn't her. That was Brittany Snow, and she was her friend. So, no, I don't think so. I think this was definitely against character. Penn Badgley, I have mixed feelings about him. I like him in this movie, but...
Yeah, but he's a nothing. You could throw him away. That's the only weak part about this movie is that she's supposed to fall in love with this guy who has no dimensions at all.
I mean, his name is Woodchuck Todd. I mean, he calls him Woodchuck Todd the entire movie because he's the like mascot. So I don't know. I like him. I like him in one other movie he was in. I think like John Tucker Must Die, which I don't know if you've ever seen that
I've
or
seen
not.
that. Yeah, I remember it. But is he one of the Final Destination kids? I feel like he is. No?
No, I don't believe so. But he got a little known, famous-ish. I don't know. He was kind of wasn't anybody until he was in Gossip Girl, and I don't really. Most of those characters are hella unlikable. So, yeah. Anyway, Thomas Hayden Church is just like so adorable in this movie. Like he's such a good like male like role model and. What a good friend, and
and Lisa
nice.
Kudrow did him dirty, and she's hot in this. She always plays kind of stupid. She's kind of mean in this, and
the whole thing was just so bizarre, and how she handled her affair with a student who wasn't he also like 24 and still in high school,
right? But he also plays
ridiculous
against type too because he's usually a villain.
Well, he's also usually in, like, action-y movies, isn't he?
Yeah. I don't think he's known for comedies.
The only other movie I remember him in that was, like, not an action-y movie was, like, he was in Burlesque.
I've never seen that one.
Do you know what I'm talking about, though?
Yeah, it's the one with
Cher,
Christina Aguilera.
Yeah. But otherwise, I just think of him as sort of like a B-movie action-y guy.
Yeah.
For lack of better descriptors, I'm sorry. And I also, I don't actually know how to say her last name, Ali Natalka. Is that how you say it? I don't know. I really love her. I've loved her since she was like a kid and she was in Disney movies, and she, had a music group with her sister Allie and AJ, and they had some really good songs.
Which character was this? Because I don't know who you're talking about.
She's her best friend who gets mad at her because she the one with the like really. That's the one part that really irritated me about it was her creepy like nudist parents were really really awkward and uncomfortable.
Yes.
And I didn't really get it, but whatever. So, I mean, I don't know. She usually plays, like, the friend kind of character and stuff. She was most notably in all 5 seasons of iZombie, and she was really good. And her sister is an actress, too, and she was in, like, the Goldbergs, and it's super weird because they're like, just a couple years apart. One of them's playing like the district attorney on iZombie, and the other one is a high school student in the Goldbergs.
Right.
And I'm just like, damn, like that's impressive. You can like maintain that youthful glow. Anyway, they're both great. I love them. But she's a lot of fun, and although she's part of the reason why all the she's the
good lord, that rumor spread so fucking. It's supposed to be her best friend, and she goes around and tells everybody. That's a shitty friend.
No, she did not.
Oh right, the bathroom. No, someone overheard it in the bathroom.
It was the Amanda Bynes Jesus loving / bully girl who spread it around, but her friend kind of turned on her. I don't know, because she believed too many of the shitty things and didn't have her back, and she was a bad friend.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it all started with a lie because she was bored with whatever she had done, and she decided just to make up.
I don't. She did not want to go camping with her best friend and her nudist parents, which I totally understand.
I get that. Just say you don't want to go. How is that even illegal if they're underage? How the fuck are you allowed to just have your ding dong hanging out?
Well, guess what? It's a movie, and there's a lot of problems in movies when you're just like, that would not happen. It just wouldn't.
Yeah, it's interesting how fast the rumor could spread, and this is why I posted that thing the other day, is because what do they give a fuck what she does with herself? I don't understand why people are so concerned with what other people do with their bodies. How the fuck does it concern them?
I think my opinion is that everything boils down to personal insecurities.
Yeah, well, it's also control freak behavior.
That's true. It's about power, it's about control, and it's about insecurity. And when you see somebody else who seemingly is secure with themselves and confident, then it's like, for a lot of people, it feels threatening.
Yeah,
it's fucked up. But that's with my years of self-reflection and my psychology degree, that's what I'm gonna say. That it all boils down to insecurities and power.
Well, that's the same thing with bullying, and this is kind of bullying too, is trying to force other people to either conform or you destroy them.
Yeah.
It's terrible. And we grew up in a very religious town, and it was overwhelming with how much judgment there was. And the older I get, I just go, it doesn't concern me. It does not affect me in any way, so I don't give a shit. It's not my business.
Yeah.
It's so strange. Yeah, but she's so controlling. She's so hypocritical over there because she's not even taking care of the fact that she has a boyfriend that's dumb as shit. He's been in high school forever. At no point is that brought up as a problem.
Well, that's the thing is, like, I mean, how many of these people in real life, I mean, are hypocritical because of the choices that they're making or what they're surrounding themselves with is as bad or worse.
Yeah, I mean, not to get on my soapbox, but apparently the sanctity of life only matters while you're still in the womb.
Yeah, let's not get into that, if that's okay.
But it is a movie that deals with a lot of that kind of hypocritical religious stuff. And the funny thing is, I love Emma Stone's character because she's constantly pivoting. She's trying to get through this crisis as best as possible. She can go in one direction, she goes in the other direction, and sometimes she gets herself in deeper, but she helps people along the way, but some of those people fuck her over. It's a huge chess game. There's a lot going on in this movie besides just the main core of, what's the plot?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, like, I think the movie in general is very unpredictable, and it's very different, and, I mean, especially in its presentation, its style, is pretty unique, at least maybe at the time, and, I mean, words hard.
It's okay.
I know I say that a lot. I think I'm losing my momentum. I just think is this her first real starring role? Because I think this, like, just shows you, like what a talent she is.
Right. She had come off of Zombieland, I believe, and it's because of all those hits, and then Easy A is how Sony went to her for Amazing Spider-Man.
I mean, I don't know if that role did anything for her. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that she wasn't bad in it, but I don't know.
It was a nice paycheck, I'm sure.
I mean, I personally, I'm a really big fan of those Spider-Man movies. Was there one or two?
There's two.
Two, right?
Yeah. I'm
actually quite a fan of those, and I know that a lot of people just, like, want to forget they existed for some reason. But I personally think that Andrew Garfield was a really good Spider-Man.
I thought he was too. The problem with all Spider-Man movies that go wrong is too many villains. Same thing with Batman. Too many villains.
Always. They just overload your senses, and then the plot just gets like...
Right. If Electro is not a good enough villain, then you don't go with Electro. I mean, if you have to put in Electro, then Green Goblin again, and Rhino, you fucked up somewhere.
Yeah, you're right. It was overkill. And that's what I dislike about most movies, like Iron Man 2.
Yep.
Ugh, just too much. Yeah, I think this is a really good moment for her. Quickly followed, like, Crazy Stupid Love, which was great. The Help, like, big things for her. And she continues to do great things. but she in her career she pivots a lot too, just like does all kinds of different things, you know, period piece, and then Birdman, which is a little bit of a mystery to me still.
Musical,
you know,
La La Land, yeah.
I
Gangster Squad
love
was the one
Battle
that
of
threw
the
me off.
Sexes.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? That's a really great movie. It's really great. Her dynamic with like Steve Carell is fantastic, and just like, and then The Favorite, which is a weird like, you know, power dynamic, period piece. Anyway, I think she's made a lot of good choices in her career, and I think this one was really, you know, you're right, her kind of where she starts building the momentum.
Right. Well, the thing that works best about this movie is something that's kind of non-obvious. Most social commentary high school movies are dark in their tone, you know, like Election and Heathers, Jawbreaker. But this one is, yes, it deals with some serious complex emotions, and that there is some stuff that goes awry, but at no point does it go dark. It's not black comedy. It's mainstream. Just it's really smart.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah, because even Mean Girls has some stuff in it that's like, oof.
Yeah, it's a little rough. So, if you haven't seen this movie, please crawl out under that rock and go find it right now, because, I mean, there's a lot of gems, and we have talked about a lot of good 80s and 90s and teen movies. I guess this is 2010. We're really stretching ourselves these days.
Yeah. Well, Final Girls, I think. Final Girls and Freaks of Nature were like the newest ones.
Yeah, but it's so well written, and it's so well done, and just so I think that it's 10 years old, but I think that it hasn't aged a bit, really.
No, it's really smart with its music choices and the costume design, because some movies look exactly like that period. Boom! And that's it, and you're just stuck there. This one, I believe you're still going to be able to watch 20 years from now without cringing, going, oh, that kind of haircut?
Yeah, so go watch it, because we like Emma Stone. Woo!
All right, everybody, check us out on Facebook under Video Night Podcast. You'll find all our podcasts there. And Mindy, thank you for another good episode. We don't know what we have next, because I haven't discussed it at all. So we'll find out.
We'll figure it out, and it'll be awesome.
All right.
Okay.
Good night.